What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the blue color, playing as Odin. His name is the Rapl. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Zeus. Surprise, surprise. His name is Suppe. And I'm already worried about this opening here from Suppe. He is going for something very, very strange here. He's already put 2 villagers on the wood line. And what a wood line at this. This is a very, very bad storehouse to start the game off here for Suppe. For those of you playing at home who want to kind of learn this game a little bit better, in terms of which tree lines you want to put your storehouses on, any tree line that is nice and close to a tower is a premium tree line. Those are good tree lines to grab. If there's no tower there, you might want to consider something else. The next thing you want to consider is, does the tree line have a lot of surface area for your storehouse to be efficient? So this one over here is only going to have 3 trees before it starts getting inefficient on this tree, as the villager is going to have to walk away. Whereas this one has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 over here. And then even then, the next trees behind it are quite close to where the storehouse would go. So this location would be really, really good. And that's something to think about. So, onwards and upwards. The Rapl over here, though, he's now getting himself all his stuff out. Odin versus Zeus here on this map. A very interesting one. I'm interested to see what Suppe's going to come up with. I feel like Suppe is just going to be going for a tried and true Athena rush. And here's the problem with the Athena rush. You've got to have incredibly strong control to beat someone at the caliber that Rapl is currently playing at. Rapple's control, really good. Rapple's decision-making in terms of the strategic decision-making, like should I build army? Should I go to the heroic age? When should I go to the heroic age? Should I fight? Has been on point in this tournament thus far. So you've got a lot of work cut out for you if your name is Suppe here in this game, playing a pocket pick here in Zeus against Rapple's Odin. To be honest, I would have been more expecting to see Suppe go for Thor here, considering he's had a lot of success with Thor in recent tournaments, specifically the Fimbulwinter tournament. I believe he came 3rd in that one, with having a lot of success there. But we'll see how things are going to go. Rapl chucking the temple up in his base, nice and safe. Love that temple there. A little slight efficiency with the houses here, because this house is technically could get bashed down, is to put your houses, if you pretend like there's a farm here, you put your houses in a ring around the first line of farms potentially that can go onto the town center. Is a good way to play. Anyways, we'll see how things are going to go, but I imagine we are going to start seeing that advance time coming through very, very shortly here for Suppe. Suppe having a lot of idle time here as he's trying to get through Athena. It looks like he's going for a 16 villager advance time, which I think 16 villagers is 402 with a Jason. I could be wrong, but I think it's a 402. So he's had a significant amount of idle time to get this advanced time that he's got. Probably should have just built another villager and would have been fine here as well. But it's all good. He's now going to start putting pressure onto Rapl in the main base here on this hunt that's kind of a little bit far out here. 6 villagers on this location as well. They're going to be wanting to move over onto the rhinoceros here. Rapl going to be retreating away with his villagers, deciding to turn around and start shanking here. And Suppe's going to have to move forward and back here very, very fast. He is managing to do this nicely as the Ulfsark coming through here for Rapl to get involved to slow that Jason down here. And Rapple's just like, I don't mind taking damage onto my Skrelling because that's going to be able to be healed back up. As Freya just about to pop here as the army coming through, and we'll see exactly what Suppe is going for in the main base. We don't see his buildings down just yet. I don't see anything there. He's focusing very, very hard on this Jason as the Skrelling pulls back to start dropping wooden walls. Longhouse coming down. There's the military academy coming up. Very, very quick here for Suppe with 3 villagers on it. Don't see that all too often. Normally it's 1 villager on your barracks, 1 villager on your archery range. As the Valkyrie going to be coming through here, we'll see if Soup is going to bother bolting the Valkyrie or what? As the Valkyrie comes in, gets a couple of shanks off onto the villager here, and we do indeed see the bolt comes down from the heavens and says, get out of here. As the archery range now coming through. Minotaur, Jason has to pull back as Rapl has now got a handful of those Herser out. He's got himself 2 longhouses, making himself raiding cavalry here. We'll see what else is going to come out as we see a couple more walls coming down onto this position. And we do indeed see that Soup has decided to grab 2 Minotaur out at the start of this game. Now, generally speaking, I'd say Minotaur, good pick to pull normally against Norse, but it seems like modern Norse gets a handful of Herser out early nowadays. So maybe it's not quite as good, as we are now going to start seeing the walls getting broken down. I think there's a little trick here that Soup could do to break these even faster, which would be to attack that wooden wall there that Rapl hasn't actually finished up with. As the Herser coming through to push Soup back. Soup going to have to retreat out of this position as the Odysseus and all the units starting to push in here to get some good damage done. Population differential here is very, very close, in fact. But we do have the watchtowers now up for Rapl to help him defend on this position. Going to be retreating back. No problems there. Raven's searching around to possibly get any sort of forest fire off or anything like that as the wall's trying to come back up on this position. We see the Minotaurs pushing back in to try and tank the tower damage here as well as the forest fire coming in onto this position. Soup here not paying attention. He might lose a villager here as the villager's pulling back, and so too does Soup need to pull back on this location here as well as Rapl is going to start looking to take out a couple of those Toxotes on the back as well. Throwing Axeman coming out, raiding. Just throwing Axeman out for the time being as Rapple's got a back hunting patch there. That's gigantic for Rapl in this game. Does Soup know about it is the big question. Soup does know that there's a back hunting patch there, so we'll see if he's going to make the journey around to the back side of the map to hit these villages here. Rapple's got time at this point to hold off as he doesn't mind that. He's got the raiding cavalry just checking out these units here, and Rapple's just going to be kind of deflecting, biding his time. He takes a lot of damage on that one raiding cavalry, though, to make that happen as the wall segment's coming up around the tower here yet again to try and defend this. But Soup's got one way and one way only at this point to walk. His economy here is going fairly decently. He's got a decent amount of villagers on the gold mine for the time being here to support his production. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to keep dropping more military buildings, as we do see that now Soup is trying to break through this wall segment here as Rapl is defending this very, very nicely as the raiding cavalry coming in onto the back there trying to defend. But it looks like Soup here, he's going to have to figure out somewhere else to go. So still only got the 2 military buildings down. It's definitely important to keep putting your military buildings down. Think about it like this. Every time you have around about 5 more villages or something like that, you need to put down another military building. Every extra 5 or 6 villages, maybe every 6 villages, an extra military building is worth it. And the reason is that every time you get those extra 6 villages out, that's enough to support an extra unit worth of production. But right now, Rapl, plenty of resources in the bank. The big question here is what sort of a heroic age is Rapl going to be able to get here? Because Soup, I'm fairly certain Soup here is just going to keep spamming units out and attempt to rush the heroic age after his full population. Whereas Rapl at this point, he's being very cheeky at the moment. He's trying to distract with these raiding cavalry, but he's getting his armory up. He's been pushed off the hunt back here for the time being. He's on the berries and on the pigs in his main base because he's out of hunt here. So he can't make any more of those raiding cavalry. He can't really make much at all in this game. And his gold mine's only got 900 gold left in it, with all the gold mines being very, very forward here in this map. Meanwhile, Soup is happily hunting everything. He's now up to 82 of 85 population. The big question is, when do you just walk in and just try and take the town center down? Because at 85 pop, 95 pop, 105 pop, Soup could definitely get there. Soup could definitely get to that amount of pop before Rapl hits the heroic age here. And he could potentially take the town center down with a big restoration push as the villagers trying to come forward onto the rhinoceros. But it looks like Soup has got all of his army in position here. Rapl pulling back. He's still got a little bit of pigs left to chew through in his main base. Once he's in the heroic gauge, though, all he needs to do is put down a Migdol Stronghold, a hill fort, not a Migdol Stronghold, and he's going to be able to make himself Huskal, and he's going to make himself those Throw-in Axemen. It's going to be really tough for Soup to continue in the classical age. Soup will have to get to the heroic age to get himself out of Haspist here. As the army retreating back for the time being. Dwarves all onto the gold mine here, as it does look like Rapl is able to hit that next age. Question is, what upgrades does Rapl have? Wouldn't be a bad idea at this point to get Pickaxe and get Hand Axe, as we do see Pickaxe is coming through. Maybe Pickaxe is not actually that worth it in hindsight, because you need the wood, you need the food, everything but that. The gold here is going to get mined out regardless, and he might not be able to get himself a second gold mine here. So we're seeing the Throw-in Axeman getting trained yet again, as Soup has to pull back here. He does have the gold at this point. He's putting farms down in the main base. He's got these back gazelle that wouldn't be a bad idea to jump onto. Soup tries to break through into this base, but the towers are just so well positioned here in this game. This is as good as it gets to have a forward gold mine against Zeus, to have both the towers here able to protect the entirety of this gold mine, that it just makes it impossible for Soup to make any sort of forward movement here. But Skadi comes through. The army over here for Rapl, he's got to decide whether he wants to risk moving out onto this location to drop a hill fort, potentially lose it after the frost is down, or drop the hill fort in his main base, drop a market and start trading to get his army out, and then push out. Then he can frost the army as he gets the gold mine. Those are two options you could do. One option is risky and is going to help you. If it works out, you're going to be further ahead. The other option is very difficult. You do see that Soup here will have spotted that at that point. Surely he does spot the hill fort, but has not made a move over there just yet. Medium infantry coming through. Plenty of gold in the bank. Plenty of food in the bank. Villagers on the back hunt over here. Do we see an armory? An armory is coming up. More farms coming up in the main base here for Soup, as well as the dwarves coming over here onto this large gold mine. As we're now starting to see the Huskal coming out, and Rapl is going to be very, very happy. He's got his hill fort. He's got his army. And you can almost guarantee that Rapl here is basically just going to be looking to frost this army and try and pick it off as much as possible, and maybe even force a kind of defensive restoration after all is said and done. As Soup pushes through, Rapl very much ready to just sit back here. We do see the Toxotes getting pulled back. Throw-in Axeman going to be completely fine here. Already microing those Huskal forward here to jump onto the Toxotes as the hill fort getting torn down at this position here. Soup knows how important it is to just clean the hill fort up. We still haven't gotten a frost here just yet. Restoration gets dropped. Hill fort goes down. Frost is down as well. And now Rapl, he can put another hill fort down if he wants to. He's on the hunt on this position. He's got the units. He's going to be taking down all of the army very, very fast. Apollo coming through here. Just an attempt at the hill fort to defend this gold mine. It should be a priority of some degree here for Rapl to grab this one. But basically here, Soup is going to be losing all of these units to this frost. And Rapl is going to have an overwhelming advantage because of it. But that being said, Soup can go into Hapaspist here. He's getting some more military buildings down. So long as he just keeps on making units here, he makes Hapaspist as soon as he hits that heroic age. He might be in a decent position. He can also try and retreat back here. Kind of speed walk the units out to some degree. Rapl hasn't gone for any sort of path blockage here. You do see that Soup here not quite retreating with his army here. It does look like he's just going to be taking the DPS to get a little bit of kills here while he loses everything. Rapl still sitting a very, very clear 115 population. Soup has to pull back. More military buildings coming down as Soup is ready to pump out Hapaspist here, it would seem. He's got his farms down in his main base. 9 farms there. Hunt finishing up on this location. Villages over on this gold mine as well. Towns are going to be coming up for Rapl here, as well as heavy infantry immediately coming through for Soup. Husbandry, plow. A little bit late on those ones as he's had farms for quite some time. As the Hapaspist now on the way. And the big question here is, will Rapl be able to adapt to seeing the Hapaspist here? Generally speaking, there's kind of 2 ways to play into Hapaspist. Like, one way is to just sit back, sit underneath your buildings, get Mythic Age and start making Ballister. It's kind of the slow way. The faster way is to just get yourself heavy cavalry and make yourself a lot of raiding cavalry and longhouses at this point, or even more hill forts and making some Jarl as another option. Now we do see Rapl starting to come in, taking out some of these Suppe villages at this point. Look at the damage that these Huskar do. 9.6 damage with 166 HP. Yes, they've only got 15% hack armor, so they die relatively quickly against the villagers, but they do so much damage to the villagers here as they are able to pick off a ton of the economy of Suppe. And remember, Suppe is one town center at the moment, so he cannot afford to lose villagers here in this game. As the Paspis lives with 7 HP, I wouldn't be surprised to see Rapl thinking about putting a longhouse up on that position, as we do see a big fight engaging on this position, as Rapl here looks like he is going to be cleaning this up very, very easily. I'm not sure what Suppe is thinking taking this fight at this point, as all the Paspis getting cleaned up. The Throwing Axeman very, very strong here. 5.4 damage compared to the 6.5 damage of the Toxotes here, plus more HP for the Throwing Axeman means that even though the Toxotes technically counter the Throwing Axeman, it's kind of an equal trade after all is said and done. 50 wood, 40 gold versus 55 wood, 35 gold. Basically exactly equal there. And in that moment, we're seeing a third town center coming up. Suppe sees that, and he says, I am so far behind in this game. And he decides to tap out, giving Rapl the dub here, just showing it's not that easy. It's not that easy to win Odin here with Zeus anymore. Zeus has got to play with some very, very strong decision making in the Athena rush. You have to decide, do I need to build units here? Should I be chasing the Norse player to the heroic age? That's something that I think here against this kind of watchtower, sit in your base kind of Norse play that I think Greek players are missing to some degree. Like, especially in the Athena rush of Zeus. If Zeus here, say, got to the heroic age, what time did we see the heroic age here? At 1022 with, say, 70 population or something, like the same population here, or 52 population or whatever here. If Suppe gets to the heroic age at the same time that Rapl does here, and he gets to just start making a Paspist, because once you've pushed the Norse player into their base, they have to, and you push them off hunt, you have to say, okay, there's nothing else I can do. Let's just go heroic age. Then you get a Paspist. Now you're not wasting any of those hoplites. You don't need Toxotes anymore. You can kind of just say, put them to the back end, put everyone onto food, put everyone onto gold, and just spam those Paspists in a big way. Or even start making things like the Manticore as well as an option to deal with the army, because it's a decent myth unit to grab as well if you go Apollo here. Also, Underworld to escape the frost. Not necessarily, you're going to have to run away at some point, but you can't dodge the frost exactly. You can, but escaping the frost after it goes away is definitely an option for Apollo users to kind of try here to save a little bit of resources at the end of that frost. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.